we're going to keep saying it. We're not going to stop saying it because it remains true that there is something seriously wrong with the president. Now, Donald Trump met with President Macron earlier today where he was being called on his deathbed, where folks said he was falling asleep. And when he got there, he looked as though he was having a really hard time walking. Now, Donald Trump was there because he is trying to clean up the mess he made with the war in Iran, the war that never should have been started, the war that we can't seem to get ourselves out of. And earlier this weekend, we had Pete Hegseth trying to defend this war, and it was a disaster. Donald Trump is asleep in the Oval Office, and the people in his government are asleep at the wheel. Here, real fast, is Pete Hegseth trying to explain why this deal is so much different than Obama's.
That's the big difference between this and JCPOA and the way Obama did it. Obama, they begged Iran for a deal, and we bombed Iran and then put in a blockade and then ran ships through and then have restarted when necessary to ensure that they come to the table for a great deal. So our military posture will be whatever it needs to be to ensure they're compelled over this 60 days through the memorandum of understanding that they live up to what they said they would do. The document says Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, won't seek one, won't buy one, won't have one.
JCPOA said that too. In 60 days,
there'll be negotiations to make that final. But they didn't have the threat of military force the way that we do, that Iran respects in a very way that their regime is more devastated than it's ever been in its 47 years. And that's why they're at the table. So the huge difference is we did this from a position of strength. President Trump led with military might. That military might will stay as long as necessary.
Of course, there is no difference between what Donald Trump is proposing and what Obama did. In fact, what Obama did was more effective. It was actually working. What Donald Trump did has made us less safe, has put Iran in a position of strength, and has made us look like fools on the world stage. I mean, Donald Trump is a fool. Now we all look like fools with him. Now, Pete Hegseth continued that tirade where he tried to defend the fact that we have a munition crisis in this country. And I'll let Pete Hegseth try to explain.
What is going on with U.S. munitions and stockpiles here? Ukraine's President Zelensky was on this program a few weeks ago. He made a plea not just for more interceptors, but for the ability to produce them for friendly governments to be able to produce patriots. Some Republican lawmakers support this idea. Do you?
Nobody makes better and more munitions than the United States of America, and we are open to co-production wherever we can. And because of this administration, we're supercharging our arsenal of freedom, building more, building faster, opening up the Pentagon, ripping through the Pentagon bureaucracy to force industry to move faster. So
but there
our
crisis,
stockpiles
there is
are
a crisis
strong,
with
and they will
those
only get stronger
right
in the future.
There is a crisis with those stockpiles right now in private industry.
That is a manufactured story that the media wants to peddle. And ultimately, our stockpiles are great, and they'll only get stronger because of the way this president has.
You testified under oth that it would take years to rebuild those stockpiles. It was the Biden administration that gave away munitions to the. You don't have to read back to me what I testified. I speculated some munitions take more time than others. We've got lots of them. We're building more than ever before. The Biden administration gave away hundreds of billions to Ukraine, and so President Trump had to refill, and he has, and we have in real time. So the answer to Zelensky's request is a no or a yes?
Ultimately, we've worked with them, and Ukraine is buying munitions that Europe pays for, and it's great to see Europe finally step up and pay for those.
Okay. Well, he was asking for the ability to produce, but I'll leave it there for today.
Now, that brings us to today, where Donald Trump was meeting with Macron, trying to make it look like he's in charge. He's not. He's not in control of this war. He's not in control of our government. Baby, he's not even in control of his own body. Look at this man gingerly walking down the stairs.
There's a lot of uncertainty, including with the Iran deal. So let's now take one step at a time and watch the incoming data, and that will be our guidepost. So there is a good chance.
Also, have you noticed his right hand? There's something wrong with that hand.
That he could basically bring that to the table.
Here's the president stepping up.
I do believe Donald Trump
He's landed in Geneva.
Had a stroke. They're not telling us. And there's something medically wrong with the president that we just are being completely shut out from. That couldn't be more explicit than what we saw here, where Donald Trump looked drowsy as hell in front of Macron.
First, it will fix the nuclear issue. And it's a very important matter for peace, for the whole world. And
can barely keep his eyes open. Look at that, man.
And it will reopen Hormuz. It will provide peace in Lebanon. And so we are ready to take our fair share of the burden and be part of the commitment of the international community in order to support this deal. And we will discuss about that together. And
I wonder if we can peep the angles.
But it's a very important step.
Oh yeah, those babies are
but
bursting.
for global economy.
He's not doing well. Breaking news, Donald Trump's not doing well. I mean, look at this man. He looks like death. £230, according to White House doctors. Now, Donald Trump also lost his voice. And what is this handshake? What is that? Is that, I mean, by the way, that's, they say he gets bruised up here on his hand. The hand is going nowhere near that strange ass handshake.
Merci beaucoup.
So I want to congratulate the president. Last night, Cyril Gahn won the fight against a great fighter, supposed to be unbeatable, and that was it. Cyril is from France. Did you watch?
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Donald Trump lacks the strength in his right arm to do his signature pulling handshake with the French President Macron. He looked grumpy as hell today. What's going on? There's something
Maybe
going on.
handshake, Mr. President?
Yeah.
I really do believe that something very bad happened to the president. Now, Donald Trump also looked swollen and discolored in his right hand. Look at that. You can see that without even moving the video. Yeah. Whatever that is, it's getting worse and it's spreading. Now, Donald Trump was asked about the text of the Iran agreement and wondering if it was going to get released. And he said, pretty soon.
Mr. President, when will the text of the MOU be released?
I think pretty soon. I would say, I mean, I want it to be released because it's a very powerful document. It's not like the Obama document, which was just a terrible document. This is a very powerful document, and I want it to be released. So probably pretty soon. I would say sometime after Friday, because the Strait opens completely. It's open now, but it opens completely. We'll have all the mines knocked out for the most part. We have a lot of lanes right now already.
Mr. President.
So I think sometime in the very near future, yeah.
Isaiah Martin said this. He said, people need to call Trump's Iran deal for what it is. He got bent over and completely humiliated. Stop sane-washing this. All he had to do was stay in Obama's deal. But no, now we are on the hook for hundreds of billions of dollars with 14 service members dead. This was a humiliating defeat that was completely avoidable. And I'll leave you with this because there is word coming out that we're going to owe Iran $300 billion for the war that we started, for the war nobody wanted. Marjorie Taylor Greene had this to say.
So I'm reading today that in the U.S.-Iran proposed peace deal that is supposedly going to be signed later this week. This is after we've been told at least 38 to 40 times that there's going to be a peace deal, but supposedly there's one. There is an agreement that there will be $300 billion be given to Iran for reconstruction and investments for Iran. Now, I'm assuming this comes from the American taxpayer, and I want to tell you that's a bunch of bullshit. This is a war that Americans did not support. As a matter of fact, we said no more foreign wars, and that's what we voted for in 2024. Well, Trump decided to bomb Iran and go to war against Iran on behalf of his good friend Bibi Netanyahu in Israel, and he's on record saying that he did this for Israel, while he claimed that it was to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon. By the way, former DNI Tulsi Gabbard told Congress that Iran was nowhere close to having a nuclear weapon, and so did other nuclear regulatory agencies, said Iran was nowhere close to having a nuclear weapon, but Trump went ahead and bombed them anyway. Well, this cost Americans approximately $2 billion a day and depleted much of our weapons and ammunitions that we need for our country's defense. But let's add on to that. What else did it do? You know what it did? It drove the cost of gasoline that hurt the average American citizen. Drove it to over $4.50 a gallon, drove diesel up close to $6 a gallon, and much higher prices if you live in states like California. So not only have Americans already paid the price at the pump, also including inflation went up. We've been paying $2 billion a day for Trump's war in Iran and Israel's war in Iran. And now we're getting told that we may have to pay an additional $300 billion to rebuild what Trump and Netanyahu decided to bomb. This is a bunch of bullshit.
And I'll see you soon. Bye. Real quick, every time there's another data breach, phishing scam, or identity theft story in the news, I'm reminded of how much our personal information is just floating around online. Phone numbers, addresses, even information about your family. Well, that's why I use Incogni. Incogni works to get your personal data removed from the internet automatically. And I've actually seen my information disappear from sites that never should have had it in the first place. I can even track completed removals right from the dashboard. And with Incogni's new custom removals feature on the unlimited and family unlimited plans, you can point them to a specific site exposing your information, and one of their privacy agents handles it for you. To start protecting your data, go to incogni.com/Keith Edwards and use code Keith Edwards for 60% off, or scan the QR code on screen. Again, that's incogni.com/Keith Edwards, code Keith Edwards. Thanks to Incogni for sponsoring this video.